Hi friends, Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make these adorable postcard, but not postcard cards. So it's like making a postcard quilt, but they are cards. They are cards that can open up wherever the opening is, somewhere on here. There it is. So you can write your note inside of it and you got a lot more space than a postcard. This is genius. The idea came from Monique at Open Gate Quilts because it came in one of our subscription boxes, the card and the envelope that it goes in to send it out in the mail. So it actually is a lot easier to send it in the mail with an envelope like this, and the card, the postcard itself, doesn't get all dirty or ruined. And then when it's at the person who you sent it to, they can just put it on a shelf. If I could hold it on my hand properly, they could put it on a shelf and display their lovely little quilt. So this is super genius, and I'm going to show you how I make mine. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is the cards. So this is I don't have a specific link to tell you guys. So she got hers at clearbags.com. But apparently Walmart sells these, and Michael's, and well, Joann's is going out of business, but anywhere like CVS and Walgreens, they also sell these because they have a photo department. So anywhere that has a photo department, also Amazon has these, and so many more. Fat Quarter Shop actually has them. Connecting Threads actually has them. So if you want to use my affiliate links down in the description below, you can also get these with their envelopes. So you can get however many with their envelopes. So just to let you know, there are different prices everywhere you look. These are the 5x7 frames, okay? And these have the 1/2 inch off of it. So it has a 4x6 inch window. So if you take a look right here with the ruler, so it is 5 1/8 is what it says online. So 5 1/8 by 7 inches. And if you line up that 1/2 inch right here, the 1/2 inch space all the way around, we're just going to go right here and measure. It is 6 by 4 inch window. Okay, so just so that you guys know. And then the envelopes are for the 5x7s. So you're going to first need these. I don't know how many you're going to need because I don't know if you're going to be like me and be obsessed with making them as soon as, you have a whole bunch of them, because now I'm obsessed. The next thing you're going to need to do is draw yourself a little template on a piece of paper. Just take any piece of paper, draw a 5 inch by 5 inch by 7 inch little piece of paper, and then take your ruler, and after you cut it out, and then mark it a 1/2 inch in on all 4 sides. Now I'm not using this to cut it, I'm just using the ruler part itself, just a ruler to cut it. But if you take and make this window when you're making your card and laying your pieces on here for your fabric, this gives you that general idea of where and how much space you have available to make your card. So I'm just using this as like a template. My friend Ian over at Off Kilter Crafter, Ian does sell postcard templates, which is a ruler that is 5x7 for postcards specifically. So if you want to go check him out, I'll put him in the link a link to his channel in the description below. So the next thing you are going to need is some batting. Now I am just using scrap batting that is 100% cotton batting, and I am cutting pieces that are 8 inches by 6 inches. That way it's a little bit bigger than I need it to be, and that way I can make my cards easily. So I literally just go like this. I lay this out on a line, and I know that this is 5 plus 3 is 8. And then I literally just make a cut, and it's not exact. So there's my cut. And then I come in and straighten one edge. So that way I could make sure I have a nice straight edge, and then I just cut it in 6 inch increments, just so that I have enough room like this, so that I have enough room to play with my little designs and make sure that they lay on my batting nice and flat. So that's the next thing you need, is just some scrap batting. If you want thicker cards, then you can use whatever batting you have. But I'm just using this 100% cotton because it's only 1/8 of an inch thick. And I don't want it to be too bulky because I do sew around the edges of these cards. As you can see in this sample card, I do sew on the paper itself, which is 2 layers worth because it's sealed on the back side. So I do sew on that. All right. So the next thing you're going to need once you have your cards and your batting is scraps. So here I have a bag of matching scraps from a quilt. It's just 2.5-inch squares like this, and some looks like 4.5-inch squares, and literally I could make a bunch of cards with this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take all this and turn it into a pile of cards. But if you don't want to do that, you can take some scraps from, say, half square triangles. So here's a bunch of triangle cutoffs. You can sew all these together and make little half square triangles and get yourself a little card from that. And then I also, because I have lots and lots of triangles, here is just grabbed a stack of triangles that I use for my little hourglass blocks. But instead, you can sew these together, trim them down to a specific size. And this is plenty size to get yourself a 5x7 card. I also have these little scrap things that I cut out. They were from the leftovers of a panel. And they're these cute little vintage hearts. So I could take a bunch of these cute little vintage hearts and put borders around them and have cute little cards, or just use 2, or just use whatever. They are adorable. These ones are like 2.25 inches, but you can fussy cut out whatever you want and use that as the center. So I have all these as well that I can use to make cards. But for today's video, we will just skip all that, and we're just going to start with this pile right here of 2.5-inch squares and make a bunch of cards. So let's make a few cards. Let's get started. So let's see what I got here. We got some rectangles. These all look like 2.5-inch squares. They're pretty flat. That's a rectangle. Let's make some of these flat though, because they have been in a bag. And I have a little iron, just using the little iron to do all this. Oh, we got some white ones in here too. We got some more rectangles. Shoot, there was enough here to make a mini quilt. But I'm going to make multiple mini quilts. This one right here is not 1 inch, so I'm going to throw that out already. These are all rectangles. Rectangles. I'm going to go ahead and press these squares. That way they're nice and flat. All right, let's see what I can do. Let's start with these. For the first one, we will do so many colors here. We got greens. Let's put all the blues and greens together, because I can do whatever I want with all this. It's just scrap pieces. So I have pinks, pinks, pink, pink. Oop, there's a partial one. Ooh, this doesn't look like 2.5 either. Nope and nope. So those ones aren't. That's green pile. Oh, we got a brown pile. Brown, pink. We got some tone on tone, which would be the white pile. Pink pile. There's so many pink ones. There's more pink than the other colors. Oop, that's not a full piece. All right, let's put some more blues in the blue pile. I'm going to consider this the pink pile. Actually, no, let's put it in the white pile. And this in the blue pile, that in the brown pile. Browns, white pile, white, green, blue. All right, so I think I'm going to move this one to the green pile. I'm going to move this one to the pink pile. That one too. This one is going to go pink. This one, I don't know. It can go in any one of these. Put it in the green. And then this tone on tone, I'll just toss out of the way. I don't need to use it. And then we giant pink, giant blue, pink, and pink. So all this is pink. So we can make a lot of pink stuff, some blue stuff, and then I'll use the white fabric with the brown and the green. So I'm going to move brown and green and blue out of the way, and we're going to start with some pink stuff. We're going to make some pink stuff. What I'm going to do is I think I'm going to cut. I can't get 2.5 inches out of these, can I? Because they're 4.5. Nope. Let's start with these right here. Take a dark one and a light one and put them together, right sides together. Dark and a light, right sides together. Dark and a light, right sides. Actually, let's do a different one. Dark and light. Dark and light. Dark and a light. Dark and a light. And you know what? I will cut one of these up and call it a dark. I'll get 1 2.5 inch square from right here, and we'll call that a dark. All right, so now that I have those cut, I'm just going to move those pieces out of the way. I am going to sew on both sides, creating half square triangles out of all this. So let's go to the machine and sew these. Here we are at the machine. So I'm literally just going to use the lines on my seam tape, and I'm going to sew, oops, let's change my stitch length. 1/4 inch on both sides of my pretend drawn line. And again, what is happening here? Did I run out of thread or something? Hold on. It was stuck in the bobbin case again. All right, so I'm just going to continue sewing these lights and darks. So you can make whatever you want with these small pieces. You can just have fun with it. You could just take one piece of fabric and free motion quilt on it and do some graffiti quilting or something, and also put that in as your little card. Or you can do like me and make little blocks. Postcard quilts and or this card quilt thing can be whatever you want it to be. Have fun with it. The person that's going to get it is going to love it. I just like sewing lots of stuff, so I'd rather just sew them than quilt only. Although that is a great way to practice really tight, small quilting. All right, so now I'm going to take these over and I'm going to cut them in half on my drawn line and then find the size I want them to be. Probably going to end up at 2 inches and then go from there. Okay, so I'm just going to trim them all in half. And I think what I'm going to do is turn this into 2 piles is actually what I'm going to do. That way I can make 2 cards that are pretty much the same. All right, so 1 for each pile. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a ruler and cut them to the size I need. All right, I grabbed my trimmer B for my Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer, and I'm going to trim these to 2 inches. So I'm just going to put my stitch line on their stitch line and do 2 inches. And then I'm going to try to remember to get all these little corners because I have a bad habit of not getting those and then I trim them off later. But let's just try to do them this time. So their stitch line and my stitch line. This is trimmer B because this is all solid numbers, and then trimmer A is half numbers. So like this one's 2, 4, 6, 8, blah, blah, blah. The other one is 2.5, 4.5, 6.5. You know what I mean? Oops, there I go forgetting to do that again. I try to remember. But you know, we're quilters. We don't remember everything. Plus, it's so small to get that little piece in there. Again, their stitch line, my stitch line. Try to get these little dog ears off. It helps to have these off when you're making small stuff like this. Oops, I did it again. You know. Okay, let's see if I can remember it on the last one for at least this stack. Try to get it right there. Right there. All right. So there's one stack. Let's do the other stack. And then we'll press them all and find a way to lay them out. Oh, there we go. See, you know, I'm not the best at this. You know, did it again and again and again. It's just going to keep happening because, you know, that's what I do. A few more to trim and then I could press them all. Make sure you move your fingers completely out of the way for that kind of stuff because you definitely don't want to nick your fingers. It happens to me more often than not. All right, now to press all of it. So I'm just literally going to press them all to the dark. I'm just going to carefully press it to the dark, or at least the one I presume to be the dark one, because some of them are kind of close. Oop, nope, that one is my dark one, and this one is my dark one. This little iron, if you have a little iron, it definitely comes in handy when you're working with little stuff. All right, there's that. So now let me toss this away real quick. We have our 5x7 template that we drew, and the window is going to be this section. That's why we marked that off. So we want to see what we can do. You can have them however you want, honestly. They don't even have to go the same way. You can make them do whatever you want. Let's make them all go the same direction. And I could swap it out too. So if I want this one in here instead of that one, like this, there's my thing. So when I sew this together, then I can use this for the sides and the top and bottom, or I can use white, or I could put sashing between all of them, which I think I'm going to do that. Let's see. We're going to measure. Let's do minus that 1/4 inch. Let me lay this on there just right, and we're going to take away 1/4 inch on both sides. So I need 1 inch, 1.5 inch. So I can just do 1.5 inch sashing of whatever color I want. Let's see. This ain't touching any of those. So let's cut this up into 1.5 inch strips by 2 inches. That way the whole thing. So here's 2 inches. 2 inches. Toss that little piece away. And cut 1.5 inch. And that's going to go in between. It doesn't have to be perfect, and this should be 1.5 left. Yep. And then the sides are a different size. So that's going in between those. And then the sides will be different. So I'm going to hook these together. I'm going to sew these real quick. Just going to cut that section out because it's going to shake the table. Okay, so here I have this. Now I'm going to put a skinny piece in between each of these, and then I'm going to have to border around the whole thing, but at least my half square triangles will be within that window, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it down to 3/4 1 inch. Let's do 1 inch because there's 2 inches left here. Yep. Right there. So I'm going to put one of these on each side. All right, so there I have it. Now I should go down both sides because that's going to be within my window. So I'm going to go ahead and put something around all 4 sides. So let me grab another piece of scrap fabric. All right, here is a white. I'm just going to go around all 4 sides. So I'm going to do the 2 sides, then the top and the bottom with this white. So I can go ahead. This is 4.5 inches, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Yep. So I'm just going to cut 2 4.5 inch strips. Put those on both sides and then do the top and bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to straighten this up. And now cut my top and bottom. It's bigger than it needs to be by far, but we're doing this so that we can seal off all these edges, and this should fit within the window. Okay, so here's my card. If I lay this on here, I can see through the paper that that is within my window. So I'm not going to trim it to 5 by 7 yet. I'm going to leave it as is, just like this, until I am ready to quilt it. For now, I'm just going to match it up right here with a piece of batting and set it aside. All right, now I have an extra piece to add to this one. So this one, let's see. These could go like this, and then I can add a strip of white to the top and bottom only. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure they're all facing the same direction. Oh, I'm going to move this one here like that and put white, light here, light there, light there, and light that way. There we go. So now I'm going to sew these together like this. Okay, so this is still going to need sides, but it's not going to need much. So I can either make it go all to one side, you know, or to the other. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put it on both sides. So I'm literally going to take one of these pieces and I'm going to split it in half because it really doesn't need much. So what I'm going to do, this is like a 1.5 inch strip, I think. I only need a little bit on each side. So we're going to do 3/4 of an inch. That way there's a little bit on each side, hopefully to end at the sides. So let's see. Yep, exactly what I needed. It's going to be within the window, so it really doesn't matter. Now I just need to do the top and bottom. So let me grab another scrap piece. But for this one, I'm going to use green. Why? Because I can. So I need 2 pieces. One for the top and one for the bottom. Yep, that should be fine. That size right there. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're building these as you go. All right, so I'm going to attach one of these to the top and one to the bottom. And now you can see, I'm going to place this on here. I can feel within the window right here, so this is going to be completely hidden. You won't even see this because it will be, and when I mean within the window, I mean in the card. So it's going to be hidden behind that, this window section. So that's perfect. Look at that. That's cute. So I'm going to leave this one as is. We're going to go ahead and pull a piece of batting. I like to press these to the batting so it kind of like sticks to it. I don't use any sprays or adhesives or anything. I literally just press it on there so it heats itself to it. And it stays nice and flat. Just like this. And then I just set it aside until I'm ready to quilt it. All right, let's move on and make another one. So again, you don't have to do half square triangles. Let's see what I can do here. These are all 2.5. How big is it if I grab this, add this? Okay, we're going to take this down because we're having fun with this, you know? We got, just saying what's all here. We're going to turn this into, hold on. I'm thinking, what if we just lay them on here? Oops, that's the same. Nope, that's the same. That's the same. I guess we'll stick with this one, maybe. Right here, and that right there. Yeah, if I make another, I'm only going to get one. Let's get 2. We'll stack these on top. We're going to go ahead and get 2.5 inches towards this. 4, 5. And then with this one, I can add something else. So this one, I'm going to stick all these together and see how big, because it's, when you lay it on here, but I got to take away those 1/4 inch seams. So I need a little bit. So I'm just going to put them together, just like this, though. Never mind. I changed my mind. I am now going to add, these are 2.5, let's see. Yep. I'm going to add 1 inch between them. No, 1 1/4 inch, because that's 2.5. That should do it. 1 1/4 inch between those two. 1 1/4 inch between these two. And then we do have some small little pieces here that can be used. Let's see if this is 1 1/4. No, but we're going to make it 1 1/4 to get 2 little cornerstones. So slide that here, put those there, just like that. And then grab two more for 3 more 1 1/4 inch pieces. And see, you could just get creative. Do your thing with these. Have fun. 2 and 3. Now with all those seam allowances missing, this should be pretty good size. So I'm going to go ahead and sew all this together. All right, so it's a little bit bigger than it needs to be, but it's perfect. Like really, it's losing about 1/2 inch on each side. I don't care. Again, you're going to see most of this when it's inside of there. So I'm going to go ahead, do the same exact thing. I pre-do all of these until I have enough of them, and then I quilt them all. So I'm just going to heat it to the batting so that it stays nice and doesn't go anywhere. See, it doesn't get all messed up. I just move it aside, and let's make something else. So what if I wanted to cut all these? Let's grab some more of these blue ones. I'm going to grab all these blue ones, and we're going to find a size that all of them are almost. Let's see. The smallest one looks like this. Let's move that template thing out of the way. So we're going to do these all 1 1/4. So I'm going to trim everything to 1 1/4. And that's 2 1 1/4s because that was a 2 1/2. So some of these will be 2. Okay. So let me pull away all these little tiny pieces. And the rest of this is all the size I need it to be. So now what if I want to take these now and do something like this? All right, those two are the same. Let's move that there. Just organizing them a little bit, making sure none are the same. And now I'm just going to sew it together like this. Let's see how big this turns out. So I'm just going to sew these together in rows like this. All right, so now I have this. It's a lot bigger than it needs to be by about a little bit more than 1/2 inch on both sides, but I can do that green thing on the top and bottom again because the green is literally right here. Or I could use white. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to use the green because it's out, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to attach it to the top and bottom, and it should be the width I need it. And there it is. It's not the same green, but it gives some contrast, and that's what we want. So again, this will show a tiny, tiny bit once it's in the window, but you know what? I don't care. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick it here, except this is a little bit bigger than it needs to be. So I'm literally just going to lay it on there in hopes that it lands within the same amount on each side. Because when I quilt it, it's not going to matter. I just want it to be the same amount on both sides. So that one's hooked to its batting. Now you're asking me, Tiffany, well, I'm tired of these controlled Scrappy, which is when the fabric matches. So we're going to move these pieces all out of the way, and we are going to do Scrappy Scrappy. Because you don't want to see controlled Scrappy. So we're going to move on and take some of these and turn them into crumb piecing. Okay, for the sake of the fact that I'm sewing these together all funky and wonky like, and we're going to pretend that they are crumbs because I don't really want to go dig out crumbs, I'm just going to sew these. Oh, some of them are folded. I'm just going to grab and sew them on funky ends. I'm not even going to pay attention. These are cut off, so if you see threads, it's not my fault. Just going to sew. And then just grab another piece and sew it to a different piece. And we're just going to make a lovely mess here. These ones I'll sew like this. Let's grab some more. Here's a big one that I can put 2 things on. Let's find something. Obviously, you can't see me over here digging. I'm digging through stuff real quick. There's a little blue guy. Let's hook this one here and find something else. Honestly, you know what? Let's just hook these together. Because I can cut them all funky like. Let's sew this one to side right here. This one. Let's grab another. So this right here. So let me break these, and then I'm going to trim these, which you're not going to see because I'm going to leave you right here. But I'm going to trim them into some funky pieces, and then we'll add more to it. Okay? So one I made into a half square triangle. The others are just random, and like here's one that looks like a little bullet. And then this one's like quarter square triangle almost, and this one's like a whatever. And I grab this piece, we'll turn this one into a tiny little flying geese. And I'll grab something for this side of this one. And notice I'm just using triangles for this. I will make whatever I'm doing work. Scrap. Put it right here on this end. Grab something for this one. And none of this matches it. It's just funky as can be. This one's oversized, but we're cutting off the excess anyway. Alright. This will work for this one. Let me just put this on top though. I want this section of it. Oh, come on. And we'll turn this one also into like a flying geese of some sort. Alright, so I'm going to trim these into something, and then I'm going to grab a couple more pieces real quick because I do need to make it bigger than what so far I am at. So let's grab some more pieces. Looking, here we go. Let's put this on this end right here. Let's grab this one. Halloween and Christmas in the same. Make a half square triangle out of this. Okay, there's 2 more pieces. Let's see, what else do we have? There's a big flowery one, and we'll put some grunge on one side of it. And let's take this one and this one and put them together like this. Stick them over in the ironing pile. Grab this and one of these. Put them together like this. See, I'm just having fun. Making stuff up. My little tiny pile of scrap bits that are, you know, small. Those together. Let's go on here like this. Hopefully these are enough pieces. Let me grab one more because we're going to be hooking it all together all funky like. Let's grab this heart one and this other Christmassy one. Let's see. We put them together like this. All right, now I'm going to press it all and we'll come back and sew some more. All right, so here's all of my funky pieces. And now I'm just going to attempt to put them together.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fake.
Okay, now let me rectangle and square all this up. All right, so I'm going to add to this right here so that this one can be almost square, but we will make it square. And then this one is already a rectangle. This is a square. This is a square. This right here, though, is already 5 inches. So now I just need to go to 7. So I need to add, I'm going to make a little hourglass out of these. And then grab another set of 4. And make a second little hourglass and put them together. So this is the fun part about crumb piecing. It really doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're making what you need to be a specific size. You can do whatever your heart desires. You notice my seams are even funky. Nothing matches up. Ooh, that's the size it needs to be for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and press this, cut the ends off, and then hook this to the end of that, which will sit next to this. Yep. Okay, and then we'll hook these two together, which should be the size, and we'll see if that's the size we need. All right, so I'm going to put this on this end of this one. Actually, let's put that this way. It's bigger than it needs to be at the moment. I'm going to hook these two together like this. Some of that will get cut off. All right, now I'm going to press these and straighten everything up, and then hopefully this will be the size we need it to be. Okay, all 3 of these pieces. This is the one that's the size in width that it needs to be. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera. So I'm going to put this on top of here. Let's get it on this end of it, though. All right, and then I'll press it this way. And then we'll stick this one on here. Let's see, do I want it in the middle? About right there. And then this should be perfect size for a scrappy one. All right, that looks to be about 5 by 7. Okay, so all I need to do is press it. And here's my wonky thing. Obviously, I have a lot going on right here. So I'm just going to attempt to move that stuff out of the way. Here's my template. Look at that. That's going to be perfect. Yeah, it definitely isn't that way. It's this way. That's going to be perfect. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to trim this right here to this size. So if you want to make them all funky, you can do that too, because this grabs a lot of interest. I'm going to leave all that excess on there until after it's quilted, then I'll trim it to size. So I'm just going to grab my batting now. I'm going to lay this on top of my batting, and I'm going to press it, and then we're going to quilt these little things now, because I think I've shown you plenty of different things that you can do. This one has a lot of seams. All right, so now we're going to quilt all there's 5 here, of these little quilts. All right, so let's go to the sewing machine. Okay, I'm going to do my best not to hit the camera, but it's not my fault if I do. I'm going to go ahead and use the white thread that's already in the machine. And what I'm going to do is I changed my stitch length to a 2.5. I'm going to go across the top. And then I'm going to do just lines a foot apart, like this. And then I'm going to alternate the direction as to keep everything nice and square. Oh my goodness, nope, don't do that. All right, one is quilted. My line's got a little crooked, but that's because it hit the seam in the center and just, went its own way. All right, let's do another one. Let's see, let's do this one this way. A little bit slow. Then I am going to attempt to gauge this by eye. And I'm out of thread. Hold on. Okay, I'm just gonna go to where it ended, right there. Take a couple stitches in it, and then there we go. All right, let's do that again. I am gonna clip that thread away. That one ended up crooked. I wasn't paying attention. One more stitch. I'm gonna gauge it this way, right about here. Trying to keep it equal. Okay. Now I want to go this direction. So I'm going to attempt to keep this the same distance. So I'm cross-hatching, but by eye without marking it. If you want to mark, you can. I'm kind of see that I'm using this right here on the machine as a guide, sort of. Like, it's not perfect because I can't see where it's going to end up. But it's sort of, you know, lined up about there. If I hold it steady, then it's good. And one more stitch this way. And then do the opposite way. Oh, wow, that one is way off. But guess what? I'm leaving it. We're going to pretend it's good. I'm actually not looking through the lens of the camera. I'm actually looking underneath so that I can see, because in this angle the camera is in my eyesight. And just because I'm pretty sure that's going to be there. All right, so this one is cross-hatched. Obviously there's a spot that's off, which is the distance between here and here, but that's okay. On to the next. All right, remember this one is bigger than it's supposed to be. So this one I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to do wavy lines. I'm just slightly tilting it back and forth. Then I'll come back the opposite direction. The wavy lines don't have to be the same as the previous. You can do them however. You can also put your free motion quilting foot on and free motion quilt. This is actually good for free motion quilting practice. You can make one giant back for all these or something and load it on a long arm even. And just put them all in a row and quilt them all. And this one is definitely bigger than it's supposed to be, so I'm just going to quilt right here. I'm going to go to this side and finish this side off with a couple lines. I'll do one more just because, but the rest is getting cut off anyway. Alright, so here's another one done. It looks crooked only because I didn't get that thread, but there's a wavy line one. Alright, now we have this one. Let's do stitch in the ditch as best as possible. Come over here, stitch in this ditch. Stitch in this one. Go this way. Now I'm going to cross this direction. Trying to stay in that ditch, but I am not good and I really can't see because it's hard to look through a camera lens to quilt. And then just because it seems like it needs more quilting, I'm going to echo in here. Out there, go this way. Chop out there, go this way. already did that one. So that should be good. Or do these outer ones, this outer ones need more. Let's do a second line that's like this far apart. Right about there. We're guessing on this one. About right here. About right there. The outer ones only. And just because I need to make sure that it stays down, I'm gonna get these little edges right here. All right, so here's this one, nicely quilted. Now I just have one more, and that is our super funky one. Let's just do lines everywhere on this one. In all sorts of funky directions. Crossing over and everything. I'm trying to see where else needs some lines. We need something here. Definitely need something down here. Let's go. Something through here. Notice I'm just sewing funky. All right, is that enough lines? Let's look. Some are really tight. I need something in between here. Let's go kind of this way with it. And one more that goes here to there. That should be good. So this one is just a disaster. All right, now let's trim them and insert them into the cards. All right, here they all are, right here. What I'm going to do is I know this is weird, but I'm giving them a quick press so they're nice and flat because I did, mush them up a little bit. Just making them 100% super duper flat so that they can go in the cards after I trim them. All right, they are all super flat. Now, I don't need to use my paper template for this. What I do need is my 5-inch ruler, and I'm going to make sure that I line this up. This is my design in the center. Remember, I said a lot's getting trimmed away. I have about 1/2 inch on those two sides. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this side and trim that side. Those are off of there. And just because I know for a fact it needs a smidgen take off of it, I'm going to take a little itty bitty smidgen, see that? Off of both of these sides so that it fits in the card 100% perfectly when the card is folded. All right, now I know this needs to be 7 inches. So we're going to find out where 7 inches. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So between here and here. So I'm going to lay the card, my piece, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to trim off this right here on this side, but I'm going to go slightly less than 7. And then I'm going to go to this side and go slightly less than 7. And I'm pretty sure I'm cutting the same amount off of each side. All right, there. Oops. Stay. All right, so now there's 7 by 5, but it's just ever so slightly smaller. So just slightly smaller. Okay, so there's one. Here's another now. This one, we're just going to lay it on the mat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to cut the 7s first. So I have about a 1/2 inch on each side. And then I'm going to go to this side. There we go. There's my 1/2 inch off each side. And now for the 5. So we're going to see how much is equal this way. I'm going to line the line up on the ruler right here. We're going to cut that side. I'm going to turn it around, and I'm cutting just shy of 5 inches this way. Just shy of it. Still looks equal to me. So here's another one that's 5 by 7. Now this one, let's count out 7. 1, 2, well, if I lay it in the same spot every time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then I should be equal every time. You can do it the 5-way first and the 7-way second, but however you want to do it. You could also use the template that you cut out of paper and just lay it on top. Mine is not very see-through, so obviously I can't tell exact, so I'd just rather use the ruler. All right, so now I'm going to see how much on each side. And it looks like about right here gives it 7/8 of an inch on either side. And I'm going to slightly trim off both sides, just slightly on both, just because we want that just slightly tinier. I mean, literally, I'm just cutting a sliver. All right, so there's that one. Let's move on. Let's start with this one first. Let's see how much on each side. Looks like 5/8 on each side. This one's kind of funky wonky. I'm going to slightly trim off just a smidgen more. It's still 5 inches. It's just like 4 and almost, it's about 4 7/8, I guess. There we go. Now let's make it 7. Instead of counting, I'll just use the ruler this time. 7 lands about that much on each side. So we got about a little bit more than a 1/2 inch on each side. Lining it up on a line. Right there. Right there. There we go. There's that one. Okay. And now for this one. This one, you don't really, I mean, if you want to, you can see where it's going to land. But I don't even have to cut this straight. Honestly, I can go sideways like this. Let's do that. Oops. Because it's longer than it needs to be. And I'm barely cutting the sidewaysness. So now we're going to line this up on 7. Cutting right there. And right there. And there we have it. So there's that one. So now that all 5 of these are quilted, let's stick them in their case. So we're just going to grab 5 of these. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we are going to insert them. So I don't know if all the brands are going to be like this, but I just learned this today. I've been making all these cards and I wasn't even paying attention. Inside this lovely thing, let me bend it out real quick so that you can see. There's these little tabs. I thought the picture just sat inside this little tab, but I was today years old when I found out you pull the tab off and there is a sticky so that the quilt will stick to that. And then we're going to sew it anyway. So yeah, I was today years old when I found that out. So I'm going to go ahead and open all these lovely tabs. Just like this. And I'm going to lay this where I want it. And you can see I have just slightly on each side so that when I sew it in, you won't see any of the batting. And then the top and bottom, there's going to be room to fold it. When I know it's where I want it, I'll pull the tab. Oops. I went to pull that one off and it took everything with it. And then I'm going to place one side down, just like that. Then I'm going to hold it nice and flat and place the bottom tabs. Like, now that I know. If they don't have this, we're just line it up and sew it, but I'm going to have a feeling that all the brands are going to have this little tab. Now you just fold the back side of the card up, and we're going to take it over. I think it's this one right here. I'm going to take it over now, and I'm going to top stitch. But first, I'm going to lay them all into their card. So let me do that.
If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I've got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Now I do have a minor suggestion. If you are making yours facing a certain way, so your block is directional that you made, then I would 100% suggest knowing that which way the card is going to sit. So this is the way you would open it, like this. So if it's directional, you would either want it to go this way or open this way. So that way your direction is facing here. So when you go to open it right here, make sure that you're putting your card in, you know, before you do any of the tabs or anything. Just make sure that it's facing the correct direction for your directional blocks. Another tip is, as you saw, it's kind of like folding these a little the opposite direction to get this to stay flat, or else they kind of bow, you know, and then pushing the tabs out of the way until you're ready to lay your quilt on it. And yes, this is just like any other glue. You could change your needle after you're done making a bunch of cards though, but that's what I'm going to do. But I could go right through this with my needle on my machine. It's just an old needle that I used for piecing other stuff, so I'll change it after this because I'm sewing through cardboard now, or cardstock is what you would call it. All right, so there's that one. You can see a little bit of the white on the sides, but you really don't see the top and bottom. I could have probably centered that a little bit better by going this way a little with it. Oh, now that I got it stuck, it's stuck. Make sure you put it where you want before you stick it, because, yeah, there we go. It's going to show just a tiny bit right there, but I don't really care. All right, and this one's going to have just a tiny little bit showing too. Open them first, position it first, then pull the tabs. So if you need to, before doing anything, close it, look where it's landing, open it back up, and then see. You know what I mean? I really don't care on these, but if you want to be very particular about it, this glue stuff is sticking really good though. So just make sure you adjust it beforehand. All right, so you can see a little sliver. So now we just need to stitch them down. So I'm going to stitch one of these down and the rest you'll pretty much get on your own. So let's go to the sewing machine. So I need to have you right here because I have to use my knee lift for this, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and start with card number 1. Now you can stitch from this back side if you want, but I actually like stitching from the front so that I know where it's going to land. See the seam right here of the card? I want to be about almost 1/8 of an inch from it. And I'm using that same stitch length that is 2.5. Right through the paper. I'm going to stop about 1/8 of an inch from the side, and now I'm going to sew down the side. Holding everything flat as I go, and I'm going to stop about 1/8 from the edge. Now I'm literally sewing on the outer edge first, because I like to seal it first. I'll come right to this corner and backstitch. And then instead of cutting my thread, I'm going to lift my needle, pull it away, and trim away the long thread. And when I turn it upside down, I'll also get that other thread. So you can see, I'm going to fold it so that you can see, the stitch line caught both sides of the card. So now, because I want this inner one closed too, I don't want it to catch, I literally am going to start on any side, it really doesn't matter, and I'm going to stitch about 1/8 from this side, but I'm a little bit closer than you think. So I'm just stitching right to there, pivot. I'm on the edge of it, but I'm within where there's still an edge to be seen. More stitch. And now I'm gonna, before I do anything, get rid of this long tail on the one side. Go along this edge. Oh, you can do matching thread too if you want to use pink thread. I totally didn't even switch out to pink thread for these. I backstitch and I'm gonna pull it away. And then I'll snip away these threads on the back. I forgot all about that to change the thread. So you could change your thread color to match when you quilt it. So if you quilted it in pink, you can put your thread color around here in pink. I'm just doing these in white because I didn't even think to change the thread. That's my own fault there. So once you get the hint of it, the hang of it, you could start from this end right here. So put your needle in right here. Seal this side first so that it pushes everything this way. I just start from wherever now because I've done so many of these now. Right there. And now pivot and go across the top. I'm hoping to catch the card the whole way. Go down this side. And then I'm going to snip away that excess thread. Come to the corner, pivot and go up, backstitch. Pull the thread away. Snip. Start right there and just go around the second one. One more stitch. And that one's crooked because it hit a seam right there on the edge. Right there. I'm going to snip away that starter thread on the top. Go past it, backstitch. I don't need to backstitch a lot because it's in paper. It should be good. Flip it and get those extra threads. Now this one, oh, it caught it the whole way, but it did shift it a little bit. See the edge of the card right here sticking out beyond? You can actually take that to the rotary cutter and snip that flush now because it shifted it ever so slightly. I did that with another card that accidentally did that. So if you feel like that's sticking out too much, see? Let's get it close. See how it's sticking out just a little? You can go ahead and take that to the rotary cutter and make it nice and flush. But as you can see, we sealed that card or the fabric in there. So there's no fabric sticking out at all. It's all inside and sealed into here. And it has nice stitch lines around it. And again, you can match your thread. Just make sure your tension is good because it kind of shows a little bit no matter whether it's super good or not because you've made holes in paper. So there is that. So I have 3 more cards to do and then I'll do those off camera and meet you at the end so we can look at all of them. And one last tip to make sure you do when you're using the cards. Do not sew it with your fabric side down thinking you're going to catch this. Don't do that because what's going to happen is this will catch the lips on your machine and it will rip it. So you always want to sew it from the actual card opening side. So you always want to sew it from this side, like this. And then pivot and sew, like I said, within that line, because then you will rip your card. Oops, I went one too far. And you don't want to rip the card. And then it gets stuck, the glue gets stuck onto this, you know, like I showed you, the glue does stick to it very well, but I had to rip it out like this and trim it because I thought I'd be in a hurry, you know. I was trying to get this done for you guys, but I just threw it upside down and I didn't even think nothing of it until it ripped. So just make sure that you always have your fabric facing up towards you. So I'm just going to stitch the second line. So So that was the tip that I had for you. Just make sure that fabric is always facing up. One more stitch, pivot, back stitch, pull it away. And if you go slower, unlike me who goes fast, I had a skip stitch right there. You see that? So it hit it and then it pulled it there. So just make sure you go a little bit slower so that your corners have that. I don't really care because these are just thank you cards. And really when they're set up from afar, nobody's gonna see that I, skipped the corner. So let's take a look at these cards. So now not only did I have that starting stack because I'm obsessed with making these now, and you will be too. Now I have a bunch more to add. So let's take a look at these lovely cards. So there's one. I'm trying to find the way that they open so I can hold them better. 2, 3, 4, and number 5. So what I'll do is I'll lay all my cards out. I'll lay all my cards out on the table, because isn't that a saying, lay all the cards out on the table? I'm laying my cards on the table, and I'll take a picture so you can get the general idea of things that you can make from using just scraps, but you could do controlled scrappy like these are, or you can do super scrappy and have fun with it. Either way, minus the one card I've already given, look at how many I have now. I have a problem. I have a big problem, but that's okay, because now I have thank you cards to last forever. Or not, maybe. We'll see. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's video on how to make a postcard quilt without the postcard, because it's a card, and you can put it in an envelope and send it in the mail, which I don't even remember where the envelope went, but there was an envelope, I showed you in the beginning. So you get the cards and envelopes together online, or you can get the card part only and envelope separate. They're all different ways. Find what works for you, like I said in the beginning of this video, and have fun with it. So, and if you want to do different size cards, do that too. I mean, whoever said they had to be 5 by 7, right? All right, guys, thank you for watching. See you in my next video.
Consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages, a vacant modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help, I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show